everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com. When I saw this frame from Whimsy Stamps, I knew I had to have it. So today I'm going to be sharing a really fun technique for antiquing gilding flakes, and we're going to create this frame with a ghost coming out of it. Now I already sprayed that first frame with some mica spray stain, and it kind of curled up a little bit on me when it dried. So I've cut out some chipboard here, and I'm going to back this with the chipboard. And when we attach that together, it'll be a nice, thick, beautiful frame. And so all I'm going to do is add some liquid adhesive to that, attach that sprayed mica spray stain frame to that, and I'll add some acrylic blocks over the top to let that dry. Now, I purchased this frame as soon as I saw it come out, but this ghost I also had to have. And so I picked this one up as well, and this is going to be the ghost that is popping out of that frame. And I think they fit really well together. Look how cute that is. I'm also going to be using some paper from this paper pack that I love, also from Whimsy Stamps. And this one has a blue background with some ghosts and cats in it. I thought this would be perfect for this scene. So look how that's going to look. And now it's time to decorate that frame up just a little bit. So I'm going to be using some gilding flakes in silver. I previously used this on another project, and this is the one that I used it on. I used some gold gilding flakes on this one with the new Scrooge stamp set, and I thought it was really fun. So I'm going to do the same technique, only using silver gilding flakes. So all I have here is some glue that dries tacky when it dries. And so I'm going to put this glue on just in spots. I'm not putting it all over the place because I want to have just a little bit of that gilding flakes with the mica spray stain. And then I'm going to add some sticky adhesive, double-sided adhesive, to a strip of cardstock. And I'm going to leave that backing on and cut out the shadow piece of this ink die here so that the shadow is also going to be gilded with that silver gilding flakes. Now you can use this obviously with double-sided adhesive, with the glue that I used. There's lots of ways to attach your gilding flakes. Now I'm going to just add some of these flakes to the sticky parts of the frame here. This is just so easy to do. I'm just adding little pieces to where it's sticky. And then I have a stencil brush here, and I'm just going to use that to remove some of the excess gilding flakes. This is a stiffer brush. I'm also going to use a Nuvo brush, which is one of my favorites for using with gilding flakes. I have it reserved just for using with gilding flakes, and you'll see that one in just a minute. I'm just going to add the rest of the gilding flakes to wherever it is sticky, and then I'll brush off the excess so that we have the beginning of a gilded frame. And here's that bigger Nuvo brush. It's a very, very stiff brush, and it works really well for this kind of project. I'm also going to kind of run around the edges to make sure I get off any of the excess gilding flakes. I want to make sure that it is burnished and rubbed right into there so that I don't have any just hanging off. Now I'm also going to use those gilding flakes on this double-sided adhesive, and I'm just going to try to get some of the larger gilding flakes and put it right over that adhesive. And I'll burnish it on with my fingers and then brush it off with the stiff stencil brush. This is very, very simple to do, although it is a little bit messy. You can see that I do have excess gilding flakes kind of going everywhere. You want to make sure you don't have a fan turned on your work surface. Try not to sneeze also. So I'm just going to finish this up with that brush, brushing that off, and now we're going to have two pieces that are ready to do a little antique work too. This is going to be a beautiful background to that ink die. You can see that I cut the original ink words or the letters out in some black cardstock for this. I'll just clean up my surface here. I'm going to put this lid on right away to avoid getting that everywhere. Then I'm going to take my paper here that I was working on and just toss that right in the trash. Any excess you can pick up with some tape. So I clean my work surface with some tape. You could save those gilding flakes if you want to, but those pieces were just so small, so I just went ahead and tossed them for this. Now I want to do some antiquing, and I started using my distress ink, but it was not really taking that ink very well. You could see I tried rubbing it on direct pad to the project, but that just created some of the gilding flakes coming off on my ink pad, so I don't recommend doing that. So instead I went back to my Mica spray stain. I got my spray box out, and I'm going to use this to spray onto the project. Now, a note, the gilding flakes are not really that porous, so they're not going to take a lot of this colorant, but they do take just enough that it creates an antiqued look, but still gives you a little of that shine from the gilding flakes. And it's really kind of fun. So you can see it here. You still see the silver shining through, but it is a deeper, darker look with that spray. So I'm just going to dry this piece off with my heat tool here. I'm holding it down with my tweezers, and then I'll take a paper towel or a Kleenex and just clean that off and rub it a little bit in. So you can see that it makes it a little darker. Now there are also copper gilding flakes you could use for this project, which I also think would be beautiful, but I was really looking for silver that was antiqued looking. Now I'll just add those EEK letters and the exclamation point with some liquid adhesive right to that background. It really looks great because it still catches the light. Speaking of light, the afternoon sunlight is pouring into my studio here, so I'm getting some sunspots, but I love that light. It looks a little funny in my video. I'm going to call it ghost spots. How about that? So now normally I would cut the rest of this ghost down just a little so it fit perfectly in my frame. But since I'm going to be covering it up with that large sentiment, I really didn't need to do that. So I just glued it down to the frame and added some foam adhesive behind portions of that ghost to pop him up and make it look like he was just coming straight out of that frame. Now to me, that would be a really scary thing in real life. In fact, I just watched Haunted Mansion last night, and my sister said it wasn't scary, but it was a little scary for me. I don't like scary movies. So this was kind of giving me all those ghost feels, and yeah, I really love how this turned out. So I love a Halloween card on paper. I love Halloween creations. I don't love scary. But look how cute that ghost is. He's too cute to be too scary. Now I'm going to add that sentiment down with some foam adhesive as well. Pop that right up. And that's going to go right on top of where that ghost is sticking out of the frame. If you have a smaller sentiment, you could cut that ghost down just a touch, and that would work out just as well. I'll add this to our card base here, and that's going to finish off our card. But let me hold this up for you so you can see a little more closely what this antiqued look is like. If you get a little bit of that spray stain from your fingers to the cardstock, try using a mono sand eraser, and that should do the trick. One other thing I didn't mention is the inside part of that frame. I backed with some dark brown cardstock so you can see that ghost really popping out from the background. I also think it would be cool to turn that into a mirrored background so it looks like the ghost is coming out of the mirror. And there's my Scrooge card once again. But look at how fun this card turned out. Super fun. I know someone that's going to really love this card. I hope you love it too. If you did love this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear any comments that you have also about your feelings on Halloween and scary movies. Drop them below, and I'll be back real soon with more card making inspiration. Thanks for stopping by today. Bye-bye.